Round one of the 2025 Formula One Championship is complete, and here is your fantasy summary from the Fantasy Formula One podcast. It doesn't matter if we're talking fantasy world or real world, that race didn't work out how we expected. The Red Bull and Mercedes rookies were both out in Q1. Aston Martin was out in Q2, both of them, and both Williams were in the top 10, which really was surprising for me. The starting grids found McLaren in a front row lockout, Max Verstappen and George Russell in the second row, Yuki Tsunoda and Alex Albon closing out the top six, then both Ferraris and the remaining Alpine and Williams all closing out the top 10. A lot of fantasy points in odd places for this first lineup. Did you use your no negative chip this weekend? Well, if you're anything like me, you really wish you had. There was significant rain, and on the street circuit, without FIA paint, things got really slick. There was stop and start rain and then really heavy rain in the last 10 laps. All total, there were 6 DNFs, 4 of which were rookies, and the other 2 were seasoned veterans that you probably wouldn't expect. Isaac Hadjar, the rookie for Racing Bulls, spun out on the formation lap. Lap 1 found Jack Doohan losing it in a straight line and finding the barriers, which brought out a safety car, and Carlos Sainz lost it into the wall under caution. Kimi Antonelli did a few pirouettes into the overrun, but he avoided contact with the wall and kept going. Fernando Alonso dipped a wheel off and spun into the wall halfway through, bringing out a full safety car that brought everybody in the pits to make the slick or enter strategy call, as a tire strategy became the deciding factor in the race. Norris and Piastri both found themselves off the road at one point, but stayed in the race, Piastri tumbling down the order. Liam Lawson and Gabriel Bortoleto both spun out and suffered damage and were retired. Both Ferrari gambled on slicks for the last stint that ended up being Class 3 rain. That didn't pay out for them, and they both found themselves in the back of the top 10. For constructors, here's their fantasy standing after one race. McLaren, 71 points, topping out the charts, followed by Mercedes at 67, Ferrari 36, Red Bull Racing at 19, Haas at 14, Williams at 10, Kick Sauber at 3, then Aston Martin at 1. Teams that have negative points were Racing Bulls at negative 10 and Alpine at negative 14. This is just the first race of the season, so there's plenty of time to get back into it. Join Ben and I later on this week as we discuss strategy and our team builds for round 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Cheers.